returns with a real life drop dead gorgeous 6-foot leprechaun in her suitcase. The industry is not geared up to help women with children or being pregnant with children. Obsessed by Catherine O'Hara, who plays his mum. It's great. Bits that you think are just the fill-in bits, I said, we've made them up. I said, all the crazy shit, that is genuinely what happened. That's when I founded BossLady Films.
Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to Enigma podcast. This is the podcast where we dive deep into the world of creativity and explore the creative journeys of artists, creators, and writers. I'm your host, Diana, and joining us today is a very talented actress, director, screenwriter, and also a very talented photographer, Vanessa. She's known for her roles in Bachelor Road, Heartbeat, and also Coronation Street. So could you please introduce yourself, Vanessa?
Hi, I'm Vanessa Hehir, and that is a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. Yes, depending on what day you get me, yes, with all of those various roles. But yes, that's me.
Yes, so first of all, I want to thank Leon for introducing me to you. I'm very happy to have you as my guest. So usually we start from the very beginning of the journey. So what inspired you to pursue a career in acting, and how did you get your start in the industry?
So ever since I was little, I think I've been an attention seeker. I love performing and always wanted to be, just the centre of attention, embarrassing my sister. I'd pop out from under the table with no clothes on as a 5-year-old, like, look at me. And I just loved acting. And I think, in the UK, we have the school nativity play every Christmas. I got cast as the lead part as Mary, and I actually got Mary 2 years on the trot because I think one little girl dropped out because she was sick, and they just brought me back the year later. So I think I just love being on stage, making people laugh. That generally was how it started. And I used to love doing impressions of people and dressing up and people I'd see on the TV, and I'd be forever raiding my mother's wardrobe and putting on little plays. And then when I was about, I think 6 or 7, my dad was working in Singapore, and he brought back in the day like a giant video camera, like the home video camera, and it was like, this is the 80s, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And he'd film holidays, but I would then start making little movies on it from such a young age. And what I wanted to actually do was be a director, but I didn't think you could be because there was no women doing it. I only, Steven Spielberg was like my hero growing up, but there was no other women. So I would write these little scenes, and I would film them. I get my friends in on summer holidays. This is when I was at primary school, so I was really young. And I would do the adverts, I'd do the TV shows, I'd do a film, I'd do movie reviews, I'd do clips from films that were really grown-up films that I hadn't even seen, but you'd see in like trailers and stuff. I just fell in love with that whole process of telling stories, and I'd always cast myself in a very small part, and that sort of went on. And then when I was about 11, I'd been doing drama classes when I was little, but not seriously, just go where your mates go. And my drama class I went to had an agency, so the teacher Carol was like, why don't you come on board and try the agency? So then I started auditioning for stuff, and so from about 13, 14, I was auditioning lots of TV shows, and I would always get down to the last 2 and never get the part. And my mum was like, maybe this isn't for you. And my mum would cry every time I wouldn't get a job because she'd be so upset for me. But I was like, well, I'll get the next one. And I just knew I wanted to be on television. Generally, I wanted to make people laugh. And that was kind of it, really. Kept pursuing it, then applied for drama school when I was a bit older. And then my first week at drama school, I actually got my first TV job. And one of the rules when you get to drama school is you can't take time off. You have to be there, and they don't want you doing professional work in case you fall back into old habits. So I basically lied and said that one of my family had died and I was going to a funeral. I cried and I'm so sorry, I have to travel abroad for my family's funeral. I killed off some random made up uncle, and I went off to do the telly job. And then I sort of had one foot at drama school, one foot secretly doing little bits of acting work, telly work along the way. And then at the end of my 3rd year, I got an agent very early and left drama school early. And then that kind of set me up on the path of acting professionally. And I I got Heartbeat sort of 6 months after leaving drama school, which was like 4 years of my life, and sort of got my name out there. And then it's just, it's been hard because the work comes, work goes. So yeah, that was how I got into the acting. And then obviously I've been doing that for over 20 years now, and then getting very frustrated with that process as well as you get older and realize there's not very interesting parts around for women once you kind of get into those 30s. And then I started writing out of frustration, really. And that obviously teamed with the directing of making shorts. And now I sort of, I try and have my hand, foot, leg like a twister board in the writing, the directing and the acting. I'll do any if someone's willing to pay me. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So could you please tell us about your project BossLady Films?
Yes. So this in when was it? It was probably 2018. I'd been up for a really large, big, kind of would have been a bit career-changing acting role, and I didn't get the part. Well, I got offered the part, and the part got taken off me because they deemed me too old to play opposite a very famous leading actor. Even though he was 12 years older than me. And I was like going, oh my God, how is it that I'm the best person in the job and you're still not having me? I'm 37 or whatever age I was. I was so sad. I literally went into depression thinking it's so unfair. And I knew acting was unfair. But I got really down about it. And the script of this particular TV project, I didn't think was very good. And Leon was like, well, if you think you can do better, why don't you start writing? And so I started writing, and then I got some interest with some agents, but they were like, have you done any short films? And I've been in loads of short films as an actor. And my husband Leon had made some, and I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll go write a short film. So that's when I founded BossLady Films. So in fact, it came out of my DOP, my cinematographer, amazingly talented Paul Francis Jenkins, who I've worked with on both of my shorts. He's just so talented. He used to call me, all right, boss lady, boss. I can't do his accent. He's a New Zealander. Anyway, but yeah, he always called me Boss Lady, and I was like, great, that's a fabulous name for my sort of little company for putting out my own project. So that's where Boss Lady came from. But yes, in a dream world, Boss Lady gets to grow, and when I have lots of projects in development at the moment, and I guess when they all get greenlit, Boss Lady, I will come on as that will be my part of the company. In association with whoever picks it up. So yes, but right now it's just a little seed growing, but hopefully it'll be a beautiful flower soon enough.
I'm so proud of you. It's very inspiring to see other women directing and writing. It really inspires me as well to do my work.
You. Yes, yeah. There's not many of us. There is actually. There's loads of amazing, talented directors. We just don't ever get a chance to get our name out there. It's very hard. It's almost like you have to pick because, if you want a family, how can you be on set 16 hours a day? You just can't. And the industry is not geared up to help women with children or being pregnant with children sustain those very intense filming schedules. I feel like now I'm in my 40s, I can approach what I really wanted to do because my daughter, is that bit more independent. I'm not breastfeeding, for instance. I can go to work without a baby attached. You can't be a director and do that. And if there's these projects cost millions of pounds or dollars to make, and if it's a choice between a guy who has no strings, he can just come and do the job, or a woman that's got a baby and other priorities, who are you going to go for? It's in financial terms, it's like, yeah, pick the guy, but that means that also then we're just not represented, and there's so many of us, but yet no one gives you a chance to get that first step up the ladder. Last year I was very lucky to be accepted onto, well, no, I wasn't lucky, I worked really hard. I got onto the Warner Brothers Directors Program, and that has been life-changing. And that pipeline of there's no, how do you get into the industry? But you need training schemes, and there aren't training schemes, well, not so much in this country anymore. There are in America. And actually doing one for women to go, well, we want women to be represented, and they're not in front of the camera. We make up 21% of directors. And yet there's so many of us, yet we don't get that first chance to then build on that and create momentum and then get to direct, your TV shows and your films and stuff, with building up a strong reputation, where for guys it's easy. Or it has been. It is changing, but slowly.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to hear that it's changing. Yeah, and I hope that it will change in the future as well.
Certain organisations, like in the UK, the BBC, are committed to 50-50. They're paid for by the licence fee, by everybody that owns a TV. So they have to, have equal representation. And I think where they do it in a lot of other departments, the director, it's your head of this massive ship. And of course, like I said, those reasons before, financial reasons, you want people with experience, but if you don't give the people the first chance to get the experience, how are you ever going to make that balance equal or try to get as equal as possible? But yeah, there definitely are more of those big corporations trying to do that. But it's still really, really hard. But yeah, hopefully so.
Yeah, so I watched your two shorts called Secret Santa, which is a comedy film, and Cuckoo, which is like a horror thriller film. But I also loved that you touched really important topic on the abuse in this film, and I was really touched by it. And they are very different tonally. And what's the biggest lesson you learned from making these two short films?
Oh wow! I mean, both films were so. The first one, my Secret Santa. Basically, I had a meeting with a literary agent, and they were the ones that said you need to make a short film because one script is not enough to try and sell you. And within 6 weeks later, I was making Secret Santa. I wrote it on a train journey back from a terrible acting audition. Had a 2-hour train journey, and I wrote it. And by the time I got back to London, I'd sent out to all my girlfriends going, "Hi, I've written this short film. I'm going to film it in 6 weeks. I don't know how. I have no money. Please be in it." And actually, that process, because I was so naive going into it, was actually really enjoyable because I was like, "If you call them, they will come. I'll just make it happen." And I wasn't. I mean, people make short films on average about £12,000 to £15,000. We made this with no money, and I think. I wish now I'm not quite as naive as that, and I feel like, you have to pay people for their time and stuff. But I think once you can do that the first time when you're begging favors and borrowing and stealing shit and stuff. But that Secret Santa was so enjoyable, but it definitely gave me the bug. And I could have been a bit more forward on my prep. After I got hooked on that, I made Cuckoo 6 months later. And that I crowdfunded. And that actually was really hard because I was dealing with very young children cast in it. And we had the time. I mean, I think that's what money gives you. It affords you the time to make this rather than like, okay, people will give me their time for 2 days, but people won't give me 4 days free of work. I can do something over a weekend. And Cuckoo was that little bit longer to shoot. And obviously we had to abide to child working hours as well. So that was really tricky. And then obviously, children is hard. I remember locking myself in the toilet crying, multiple times through that 4 days, going, what the hell am I doing? This is horrendous. But we got there. But the biggest lessons, I think, is if you want to do something, just go and do it. You could be waiting forever for money, for funding, find a way around it. I think that was the biggest lesson. But they were both totally really different. And the reason I did that was, having been an actor, I've been put in a box for what people think I do as performance wise. And it gets really boring. And I thought, I don't want to be put in a box as, she writes and directs this. I was like, well, I'll give you an gross comedy, and then I'll give you something completely on the other end of the spectrum, to show that also I'm really capable and I'm not one thing, because people aren't one thing. And I just felt like having 20 years of fighting against being an actor, being in this is what you do. It's like, no, I can do this. I wanted to show that I could do it all. And I think if you start that way, then nobody can stick you in the box. I don't know how successful that's been, but I still, everything I write, even now I have 6-7 projects between the US and the UK, and they're all so different. Like there's the comedies, and then there are, your psychological thrillers, and then you've got your ghost stories and so I do try to, and also because I get really bored. So once I've done one, I'm like, okay, let's write something completely different. And obviously you're always trying to, find the originality, so you're not the same as other people. So it's like almost like mashing genres together. And all the films I love, I think I'm very inspired by kids' films, like from growing up in the 80s. And I try and always think that there's a sense of that, but for an adult audience now, which with what I take, sorry, I went off on one tangent there for the question you asked.
What was your favorite movie, by the way, when you were a kid?
My favourite movie of all time is Home Alone. I just think it's brilliant. I think I love the way, I love anything set at Christmas. Obviously, my first short was set at Christmas. I think it really, I love the humour in it, the slapstick. I love quite farcical things. And it was only after I'd written a couple of scripts, everyone's like, you write fast really well. And I didn't even know I was writing that sort of physicality comedy. I love that in it. I kind of like the moral of the story. I just, everything about it, I just think it's funny and it's dramatic and it's tense, and I love, I think Macaulay Culkin in that film was brilliant. And I think when I was younger as well, I wanted to be Home Alone. So that's one of my favourite films, which I've seen so many times. And then, like one of my other favourite films is The Wolf of Wall Street, Scorsese. So totally opposite. And my sort of favourite sort of horror-y film is a film called Raw by Julie Ducournau, amazing French writer-director, and that's about cannibals. And I have a show called Fast Food, about a family of cannibals, of quite a sitcom-y cannibal comedy. And that obviously Raw is about cannibals, but it is a friend of mine was like, oh, were you inspired by Raw? I was like, I've never even heard of it. And I watched it after 6 months after I'd written my script. And it was absolutely brilliant. It's the film I wish I'd made, because it's so realistic and gritty, and yet then you've got this kind of out there element to it, and it's just amazing. So they're three of my favourite films.
Which part of the Home Alone do you like more, the first part or the second one?
I'm going to go for the original, but I do love Lost in New York, and I've been to New York several times, and I try and do everything where Kevin goes. And I'm obsessed by Catherine O'Hara, who plays his mum. It's great. The first film, definitely, it's brilliant. And we watch it every single year, and sometimes we watch twice over a Christmas period. Like, we never get bored. That, and also Bridesmaids I probably watched as well a lot. I love that again, that sort of slapstick comedy.
I also love these movies.
Yeah, they're good, great. I love, we live in such a horrendous world, and I think the way I pursue the stories I want to tell, they're not social or political. I just want to entertain people. If someone can watch something, or for half an hour and a half, and be totally removed, and it make them laugh and be shocked and whatever, I think I like that escapism. Just takes you out of where you are. And I think that those type of films are very that. So especially Home Alone.
Yeah, that's right. And what kind of stories are you most passionate about telling next? And do you have maybe a dream project, something that you would like to write or direct, if, for example, budgets or logistics, they weren't an issue?
Yes. So I have a project that it's been my baby for the last couple of years. And it was like I think it was the second script I wrote. And it's called Unlucky, and it's about a 40-year-old woman who gets dumped on her wedding day when her fiance says he's actually in love with her brother. And so she goes off to Ireland on this solo honeymoon, and basically returns with a real life drop dead gorgeous 6-foot leprechaun in her suitcase, and who grants her 6 wishes for releasing this curse, because he's in a toy teddy, and she kisses this teddy, like these novelty toys that you get in duty free, like, kiss me, I'm lucky, and he's called Lucky the Leprechaun, and that I wrote that years ago, and I entered into some competitions. It did incredibly well, and when I was my second short, Cuckoo, and that was screening at a film festival 3 years ago. There's a production company that I'm obsessed with in the UK, and I basically stalked this company. I've turned up to events they've been at, like handing over 1-page pictures, and the development exec was in the audience and saw my film, and I did a Q&A about my short afterwards, and they reached out to my acting agent to say, we really loved the short and we would be interested in making it into a feature film. So I had some meetings, and then I pitched them loads of other ideas, and in the end they ended up picking up my TV show Unlucky. So I was in development with them for 18 months, and then last year we went out to broadcasters, and we thought there'd be like a bidding war. We were so happy. We'd written 2 episodes, 60-page pitch deck, treatment, a whole 2 seasons act out, and potentially some cast we wanted, and we'd reached out to directors, and everybody turned it down in the UK. Everyone loved it. No one wanted to make it. I was like, it's so cinematic. It's redefining the rom-com genre. And that was just devastating. And then the project went out in America. It's like one door closes, another opens. And whilst we were obviously starting from scratch over there, so we were trying to find another home for it with the production company. And everyone that read it loved it again. But no one wanted to take it onto their slate. But it has opened the doors with, like, I'm talking the most ridiculous companies, like famous actors there. I mean, that's been the project that has excited me, probably I've been living with for the longest, and I'm very reluctant to sort of let it go and put it in a box. But there was one company out there, I probably shouldn't say their name because they're, anyway, but early days, but they suggested I thought about making it into a feature film. So that is currently where I'm at now, whether to turn the show into a feature, because there was some early interest. So we'll have to see, but I'm just about to start writing it, and I love it as a TV show, but that is the project when I think it's been so many years of your life, and it's been also other people's. I've had so many big producers on it as well. It feels the one that that's the one that I want to get away more than absolutely anything. And it's not even expensive to make because it's just not. But that at the moment is the one that I've really struggled to sort of just leave to one side. I mean, the great thing about projects is once they're written, you can take them back out to commissioners in another year's time because people move and taste change and what people want. But that has been the hardest thing for me to sort of that, just because everything went so well with that, and we just thought it was going to get picked up, and then it didn't. So that was heartbreaking. But it's opened lots of doors in America, so I'm very grateful. But yeah, so there's that project, and then I have so many other stuff as well. The short Cuckoo, which was the one that drew me to Sister Pictures found me through that film. That now has been developed into a feature, and I'm 10 pages away from finishing it. But I've been 10 pages away from finishing it like all year because everything else, I had so much other stuff going on. And I just didn't know how to end it. And I've never had writer's block before. I usually have too much to say and can't condense it. But I sort of started rewriting that before I went on my holiday, just tweaking it because it is there. I just need that last at the end. But I'm really hoping that I do get these like epiphany moments at nighttime, and then I'll just vomit it out. But that is that's the next project. And again, I've had meetings with people about that because they've seen the short, they're interested. So I really need to get my arse into gear. But that so either hopefully that will be my debut feature film. And that is set in Ireland, and that is based on two true stories that I've sort of pushed together, and then artistic lore. But that's about the imaginary friend, which was a true story. That was my aunt's story and my cousin's story that I sort of added in another family story into. But yes, so that I really want to tell because I want to, my first feature film, I would love it to be that because, again, that was a bit like my baby, and I made that now 6 years ago. So 6 years next month. Wow, that's gone fast. But I'm very grateful for that film because that changed everything as well, how I've gone down my career. But yeah, and I have my wish list of actors I'd like to be in it. But of course, it's very long. But yeah, the funding for that, we will be going to Screen Ireland for, I think, in February next year. So we'll see. So again, another long, slow process, but yeah.
I'm so proud of you. I really hope that all your projects will be brought to life because they sound really exciting.
Thank you. I do too. That would be great if they were.
Yeah, so we've mentioned some problems within the film industry, and for aspiring writers and directors, especially women who want to break into the industry, what's your biggest advice that you could give them? Keep
going. It's really hard. I think you surround yourself by like-minded people or women. I have a brilliant community of women in film and TV, which is very inspiring and very good at networking and connecting you with other brilliant women within the industry in all different fields. That's kind of been really invaluable for me. But I think the biggest thing is it's really hard, and it's the finance thing. I think when you're starting out, you don't need to worry about that. Just even shooting things on your phone, if you really want to tell stories, just find a way to tell them. But yeah, I think that's it. Like, if you've got a story to tell, go and do it. Just make it happen. And if you're waiting for other people, you will be waiting for a really long time for that permission. I think that would definitely be my advice. And also, you know, the industry is a world of no's, and you get rejections constantly. And I remember I had Sister Pictures through this wonderful dinner last year, and I sat next to an amazing I think she's Oscar-winning screenwriter, Abby Morgan, who I'm such a fan of. She has written the most phenomenal scripts and TV shows I just adore. She wrote Eric, The Split. I think she wrote The Hours. She's phenomenal. And I think she even wrote on the new Bridget Jones movie. And that day, at this dinner that day, we just found out that one of the big streamers had turned down my TV show, and she just said, "Congratulations, you're a real writer now." And she was telling me that, you know, her first TV project got turned down by everybody, and she had to go out, like, wait a year and go back out again. And, you know, and I think it's really nice to hear that, you know, you see these what look like overnight successes, but then the story of, well, it took me 7 years to get this made. And I think it's having that resilience to go, okay, that's a no from you, but, you know, all I need is one yes. And there's lots of production companies and lots of broadcasters and streamers and stuff. So I think it's getting in that mindset that it's not personal as well. And people, you know, have remits to what they're looking for at particular times, and slates, and, you know, ticking boxes, so to say. So I think, yeah, just you just need one yes, and don't worry about the no's, because there's loads of them. I mean, don't get the no's. Yes. The no's hurt, but you're like, you'll regret that when I win my BAFTA or my show's taken off. And it's a bit like J.K. Rowling. Everyone turned her project down. You know, 12 publishers, and I think, yeah. And if you know the project's good, and surround yourself by people that, you know, support you. I think that's also, you know, you find your tribe, and but yeah. That would be it. Yeah, don't keep on going, and don't worry about the no's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you've been shooting a lot of different projects. Can you share any memorable moments that happened on set? Maybe any funny or unexpected experiences?
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. Of my own projects, you mean that I've directed?
You can mention both your own projects and also maybe something when you were an actress yourself.
Gosh. Oh my God. There's always giggles to be had. Just try to think. Oh my gosh. Memorable moments that it's funny. I mean, I think so fondly back of all the jobs I've kind of done with funny things. I think ones where I've had an absolute ball when I was doing Coronation Street with my on-screen sort of husband and family, and that we would just absolutely get the fits of giggles, and we'd be doing really serious stuff, like I'm trying to buy a baby off a teenager, and, you know, talking about miscarriage and stuff. And it's I guess when you're doing these heavy storylines, it just takes one person to crack up, and then you're all off laughing, and you're trying to that sounds really unprofessional, like crying my heart out with laughter rather than actual tears. Also, I guess having worked with Leon, my husband, so many times, there's always fun stuff. Like, I remember during lockdown, we did a sort of a TV show together, playing husband and wife, and we got put in a hotel together, and just being in this grotty hotel. You know, I don't even know where we were. Some really random place I'd never been to, like this Premier Inn, and we were the only people in this hotel, because we had licenses to work. She went, like, you couldn't drive 5 miles away from where you were, and just like living it up with disgusting takeaway in a hotel room, but just being like, oh my God, we're out of our home and freeing with our little no fridge, but trying to chill our wine in the sink. They're like, that's not an acting moment, but just of the ridiculousness of it all. Yeah, I mean, it's all been lovely, to be honest. A lot of it, it's all been lots of giggles. Even doing Casualty, which I did not that long ago, which is a show in the UK, a hospital drama. Trying to film and taking 2 weeks to do a stunt, and me not even getting anywhere near the set. Locked in a trailer for 2 weeks. That was memorable. I wrote a whole script. Sorry, it's hard, but I should think I'll have to come back to that and think of some comedy moments. There's probably been loads. Now I can't think of any.
Yeah, so you mentioned that one of your projects, Cuckoo, it was based on the true story. And where do you usually find inspiration for your projects, or maybe for characters that you play? And are there any specific experiences or places that spark your creativity?
Yeah, do you know what? My mum actually is, she's brilliant. She just tells the best stories. I definitely get my storytelling, chatting bubbliness from her. She just, yeah, her family, she's from a massive family. She's one of 11 children, like a football team, proper Irish Catholic family. And obviously the dynamic in a big family as well. That's just, there's just stories that come from that. But she just tells the best stories. And you know, I used to have an imaginary friend when I was younger, and I can't really remember that, but she would always tell me stories about that. And then my aunt, and obviously in Cuckoo, it focuses on this child we think is the son called Blonde, but actually he's an imaginary friend, and that was based on, like I said, my aunt's, that her 3 sons. Basically, the imaginary friend worked his way through all 3 children. But yeah, so inspired by just stories that my mum's told me from my family, and my cousins, all my Irish cousins that were amazing storytellers. And so literally it's just sitting around a dinner table going, right, I'm having that. Leon and I have also written a comedy sitcom called Boomerang about our time about moving back in with my parents sort of 12 years ago. We just had our daughter, and we're trying to save up for a deposit to buy a place. And a lot of people have to move back in with their parents, and that again, the stories we've literally just plopped in out our life and put it down on a piece of paper, because we tell people the crazy stuff that was happening when we were there, and my parents' crazy friends, and be like, you should write this down, it's hilarious. And I think, you know, 10 years later, you kind of put a bit of distance, you go, well, actually that is really funny, and how can we fictionalize bits? And so I think I kind of take it from wherever. But I mean, even Secret Santa, my first short, was kind of based on a true story. My friend Zoe is a nurse. She's my daughter's godmother. She's brilliant, and she was telling me stories about her life wasn't kind of working out, and then basically I took her life and put it into a short film with another friend of mine, sort of mashed it together, and they both got really angry at me. They were like, we're not telling you anything ever again, you just fictionalize it. But again, like my friend did say, like in Secret Santa, the premise of that is it's a Secret Santa, and someone gets a lottery card, and then a woman that a gift is given to a woman, and the woman that bought the card doesn't like her. And my friend did actually say, you know, if you win on that lottery card, I will have to kill you. And I was like, just like that. This was at my Secret Santa the year before. And I was like, there you go. That is the start of a film. What happens when someone does win the lottery in a Secret Santa and the other person wants the money back because they bought the card and they're broke. So I was like, great. So it's kind of everywhere. Sometimes I'll read articles, news articles, newspapers. Like there's a free magazine in the UK whenever I'm on the tube, called The Metro, and it's just filled with just ridiculous, like silly stories, not great journalism. And sometimes you'll read something really bonkers in one of like true life, and you're like, oh my God, that's brilliant. And then it's that idea. But my husband always says, like, I'm never short of ideas, because I always get excited of overhearing a conversation, seeing something. So I have a notebook I carry around with me, and I'm forever just ideas. But there's a brilliant script editor consultant called Philip Shelley, who runs For Screenwriting. And I did a 2-day writing course with him years ago, about 6 years ago, just when I was starting. I thinking I really like writing. And that 2 days kind of changed everything, actually. And he said, like, I know you all think your original ideas are brilliant, but his sort of homework when we were doing the course was go and get a free newspaper, buy a newspaper, and I want you to find an article in that. And then I want you to have a think about it and pitch it as a TV show, as a movie. And you can obviously use that as a starting point. And everyone in the room, I think there's 20 of us, we all pitched these brilliant ideas, and they were all amazing, and they're all based on true stories. And you're kind of like, okay, so there's inspiration everywhere. It doesn't have to be quite so wacky. But even for Unlucky, my Leprechaun comedy, I mean, that came out of me being stuck in the airport, in Shannon Airport with my sister years ago and all the kids. And me thinking, there was these toy leprechauns, and I did stand on one, and I thought it said my name. And I said to my sister, oh my God, I think this toy, I'm pressing its belly, and I'm sure it said Vanessa. She's like, how much have you had to drink? And I'm like, no, I said, but imagine if this leprechaun came to life and then it granted me wishes. Boom, that was the start. And at the time, I was really things are going really badly in my career. And I'd been to see a medium on this holiday, this break to Ireland, back to see my family. And again, it was like, how do I put this into a story? So it's everywhere I go. But usually, I mean, a lot of times it's my own experiences or friends. But yeah, I mean, I'm terrible at dinner parties. People are fearful if they say something, they will end up in one of my
They should be careful.
That's it. Like, well, she's off. But and then obviously Leon and I have written about our own experiences of moving back in my parents. I mean, we've fictionalized it, but yeah, it's all. I mean, when my agent read it, she was like, "Oh my God, Vanessa, this is really out there." And she said, "This bit here is a bit unbelievable." And I said, "That's real." I said, "The bits that you think are just the fill-in bits," I said, "We've made them up." I said, "All the crazy shit, that is genuinely what happened." And she's like, "Oh my God." So obviously when she sends it out, she's like, this, and she puts a line going, "All the bits you think are out there actually are real." And so yeah, it's funny. Yeah, write what you know. That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, I've noticed that even some random things, they trigger the ideas for example, I write poems and lyrics, and they trigger like words, certain lines, and they grow into full poems and lyrics. Yeah, so it's very interesting.
It's beautiful like that when it happens so organically as well. Like, yeah, that's the thing, the inspiration, you never know when it's going to come, but it's like, yes, I need to write this down now. I have all my great ideas just about 10 minutes before I fall asleep, and I used to like go hi talking to my phone, and then the next time I'm like, what did I say? That was rubbish. Or after a glass of wine you're feeling so inspired, probably rubbish.
Yeah, as for the next question, it's fits to the category of like fun questions. If you could have lunch with any historical figure, movie, game, book, or game character, who would it be and why?
Oh wow. This is a good one. Do they have to? Sorry, can they be real people or?
It can be anyone. Real people, like famous, or.
Oh, who? We were having this conversation on holiday last week, and I can't think who I said. Oh, who would I? Do you know what? I think I'd have dinner with Jesus. That'd be quite fun. Yeah, I love dinner with Jesus. He can turn it great because I'll just turn it with a bit of wine, and he can make water, and he can turn it into wine. So,
what do you think you would discuss?
Oh my God, I because I grew up Catholic and I paint quite a lot of religious art. I'm kind of fascinated. I'd like to know all the truth or all the stories. Obviously, you know, the Bible's got every story you can think of going. And I did religion and philosophy when I was at school for A level. In fact, I was going to go do theology at Oxford University, totally different from the path I've ended up on. So I guess I'd ask loads of questions about, you know, those stories and where did he get his inspiration from to share these stories with his disciples, and did this happen? And I guess also then the bigger question about God and stuff, which sometimes hurts my mind. Because I kind of like, obviously, a lot of the stuff I write is magical realism, and I mean, I suppose people could say, God, is he magical realism? We've never seen him. So I guess I'd probably ask him some questions, and then also ask him what type of wine does he like to turn his water into? Rosé, red wine. That's terrible. Jesus would be a good one.
Yeah, and what about maybe a movie or book character? Who would you like to chat with?
Oh wow. Oh God, I've read some amazing books. I've just read David Nicholls' new book called You Are Here. And the two main characters in that book, Marnie and Michael, were just so brilliant. I like cried when the book was over because I'd spent 4 days of my holiday with these people. And I remember going, oh, I love these people. I want to be there. Oh gosh, they would be interesting characters. What TV shows? I'm probably thinking really hunky people I kind of find attractive off the telly. I've just been watching This Summer I Turned Pretty with my daughter, and Jeremiah, and that's really hot, although he could technically be my child, so I could literally be his mother, but he's quite cute. You know what? Yeah, I'll pick the David Nicholls characters I've just read because they're so fresh in my mind and they were brilliant. I'd have both of them because they seem interesting people.
And can you name a book or movie that has significantly influenced your perspective?
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh, I'm just trying to think. There's a writer called Erin Kelly, and she writes kind of brilliant. They're actually all based near where I live, so when I read a lot of her work, it's interesting because I can picture the roads and the tree she'll talk about by the cemetery. There's a book called The Poison Tree, which I read years and years ago, and that book was just so amazing. And I loved the way her characters, you think they're one thing and then potentially they're not. So I think when I come to writing, sometimes it's great reading just fiction, because you can go much deeper into the characters' layers. And I think, how do you show that in a script to get all those best bits and, to inform an audience without, obviously you can't live in these people's heads when you're writing a script potentially, because you've not got hours and hours. But I think she's a brilliant writer. Yes, I love that. And also Bella Mackie, How to Kill Your Family. I don't know if you've read any of her work. Her stuff is brilliant. And again, the humour she brings, and I think I'm always reminded of how you can do something serious, but you can have humour in it. So I love reading female writers, and then, nicking bits of how they can, bring these characters to life so beautifully, and how then you can put that into a script.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think our viewers and listeners just got a great movie and book recommendations.
Oh, well, I remember reading How to Kill Your Family and going to meet a production company going, I want to make this into a TV show. We've already bought the rights, we're making it. I was like, oh, okay. Brilliant. But I think How to Kill Your Family, Anya Taylor-Joy is playing her, and Sid Gentle, amazing production company, they are making it with a brilliant writer called Emma Moran, who wrote Extraordinary. She's done the adaptation. But yeah, so sadly, someone's beat me to it on that one. But maybe another book I'd like to adapt.
Yeah, I hope that you will be able to adapt it. And as for the last part of our podcast, we usually play a game called This or That. So I'll give you two variants, and you'll have to choose quite quickly one of the variants. So acting or directing?
Directing.
Writing comedy or horror?
Writing comedy.
A big budget studio project or indie film?
Indie film.
Improvised moments or tightly scripted scenes?
I say totally scripted.
By the way, have you had any improvised scenarios that played out well?
In my own work, no. Actually, that's a lie. Yes. There's a brilliant actor called Piers Quigley, who is in my second short film, who plays the vicar who comes to bless the house, basically exorcise the house of what he thinks is a ghost. And he did improvise quite a bit. There's some bits under the stairs where he's just got comedy bones, and I was such a fan of him, and I wrote to his, I knew a mutual friend of his, and I wrote to him saying, I've written this. In fact, everything I've written him a part in, because I'm so obsessed with him as an actor. And he's known as Shakespeare's funny man, so he's very well known in the theatre world. Lots of Shakespeare characters. He's just so funny. But to get him to play this serious role, he just found all this humour. And that was actually the people, when we were first showing it to people, my editor, B, who is phenomenal, her mentor is a guy called Col, who edited Star Wars, and she showed it to him, and he was like, hang on, this is like a ghost story thriller, and all of a sudden it becomes a fucking comedy. Like, you can't have that in it. And I was like, no, you can, because the show hasn't changed. It's just this character is funny. But that was definitely Pierce bringing something to it. But when I watched the film in a big cinema with an audience at a film festival, I loved the way they'd gone from to the laughter. So I love the fact you can have something really serious and dark and heavy, and then you can also have this moment of lightness. But yeah, so improvising, he was incredible. But generally speaking, I pride myself. I mean, I'm always up for collaboration, but sometimes it is like the script is the script, and you've got to hit those beats. And if there's space, of course, you can go do one for yourself and see what happens with some improvising. But generally speaking, I kind of hope that I've covered enough on the page that the actors know. But if they feel confident enough and we've got time, then I'd always go, yeah, go for it. But I think it depends whether, if you're doing comedy, you've definitely got more time for that. But I think with serious stuff, just stick to the script. I think what I've written is really good. So I'd be a bit like, hang on a minute, you're not the writer. Yeah.
As for the next option, director's cameo or strictly behind the camera?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Director's cameo or strictly behind the camera?
Oh, director's cameo. Yeah, definitely.
Coffee on set or herbal tea in the writer's room?
Neither. I don't drink coffee and I don't drink herbal tea. I'm a cup of tea. I'm a English breakfast tea girl. So I just drink water if they were the only options, because I hate herbal tea and the coffee makes me wretch. Sad. I wish I drank it because I'd love that little perk in the morning. Leon's like 4 cups of coffee and I'm like, I hate the smell. Horrible.
Fictional character you'd love to play or one you would love to direct?
The character I wrote for myself, Sadie, in Unlucky, because I was attached to play my own part when it was in the UK. So her, definitely. She's the most funnest character ever. Of any character in the world. And I wrote her.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
And the last one, rainy days or sunny days?
I love a bit of rain, I'm going to say. I'm from Manchester. All it does is rain. I like feeling cozy. I love the sun, but I can't really go in it because I'm so pale. This is actually, I went to Greece and came back whiter than when I went because of my fake tan. So this is all fake tan. Like the freckles are my own, but I'm tanned up. So I like a rainy day where you get cozy inside with the cat and I'm sat on my laptop writing away, and then you get to watch movies and stuff, because I love winter. Autumn and winter are my favourite seasons. So I'm going to say rain. Sorry, that was a very long answer.
No, that's perfect. And before we wrap up, do you have any exciting announcements or upcoming projects that you would like to share with our listeners and viewers?
I can't say anything at the moment, so I'm waiting to hear back on something huge, but I'm literally checking my phone every day. No, I'm just waiting to hear back to see whether I will be directing my first primetime 1 hour of British TV. So I'm literally any day now nervously looking at the phone. So I had a meeting about 3 weeks ago with the BBC. So we'll see. But that would be that's what I'm waiting to hear back on. Fingers crossed. And then yes, other projects, just waiting to hear back with that. But I also have a meeting with Hello Sunshine, Reese Witherspoon's company, in 2 weeks with one of my projects. That's quite exciting. It's very exciting. I love Reese. So yes, but yeah, the directing, that's kind of on the that's the big one. And then a little job for an acting show, an Apple TV show, which I'm still waiting to hear back on. So yeah, lots of things and lots of different pies. It's like, oh, come on, ring the phone, ring. So.
And we're also really excited and about your upcoming projects, and fingers crossed that everything will work out well.
Oh, great. Well, hopefully next time if you have me back, I haven't talked too much, I'll be able to tell you how it was making all my great stuff.
We can have that too.
You can do a set visit and come along.
To document everything.
You're there. You can have the coffee and the herbal tea.
Right. Yeah, and that was all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Monica Podcast. It was absolutely fantastic to hear you share your insights with us. Yeah, and if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and also share a comment about your favorite part of this podcast. And also, don't forget to connect with Vanessa. I will share her social media and all the links to her projects like BossLady, and also with me on my social media. And also write in the comments what guests you would like to see in the future. And until then, keep exploring, keep curating, keep shining, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.